because me and my wife have co-opted every Halo game, and not having split screen starts to get like, one, it starts to get expensive, and then two, it's like, oh well, Infinite's co-op was so much later that everybody had already played through it, but I wanted to play through it with my wife, which is what we waited on. And my situation is pretty specific. Like, I'm not saying they need to do that, but like the co-op Halo experience is such a core piece of Halo for so many people, that especially the original, like Halo CE split screen tackling campaign is like the thing for a lot of people.
Scrag, where you fall with all this this Halo stuff?
Well, I've said before that the only reason anyone ever bought an Xbox was Halo, so I'm a pretty big fan of Halo, especially like 1, 2, 3 was okay. ODST was cool. Reach was awesome. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. The idea of a Halo hub, which maybe we need to come up with a better name for that, but I think it's cool. I mean, we've already all paid like our $70 or whatever to have Master Chief Collection, which if I had the choice, I would say they should just put the remake of CE into that as like a $20 DLC or whatever, and then that way we kind of have everything in one place.
That makes sense.
But that also would leave out Infinite, which is perfectly acceptable in my opinion. But I mean, I'm kind of an Xbox hater, so whatever.
Always have to have a balance.
Also, not to be the bearer of bad news, but Motorsport is not going to happen. Apparently, they shuttered the studio. So, not to kill your fun, but I don't think we're getting a Forza.
It'll probably be Horizon, if anything.
Yeah, if it's,
I mean,
if
we're
it's
gonna
anything.
get. I mean, it's gonna definitely be Horizon next year, which is hopefully in Japan. So you're definitely gonna get that. But Motorsport, I don't know. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
That's.
I saw that coming because Motorsport, when it comes to racing simulators, because I don't know if you guys know this, but I played a ton of them. I have a racing rig. Motorsport's just not good. The implementation of like peripherals doesn't work half the time. You have to go in and like do a bunch of complicated steps to even get basic stuff set up. And it's not good.
I think because they used to be like the peak sim driving game, because for the longest it was better than Gran Turismo. Right? No, it wasn't. Like for a console.
Oh, really? You would argue, Scrag, that it wasn't? Like there was I went from Gran Turismo and I believe it was Forza 2, and I've been
when you say
ever
specifically sim racing, Gran Turismo is not even on that list.
Well, I guess now. Okay, so like I'm old, so in my mind, Gran Turismo and Forza were sim racing, but now we have like way more realistic, actual like sim racing stuff. I wouldn't include that category. I wouldn't include Forza or Gran Turismo in those categories, like at all.
No, maybe Motorsport.
Yeah, Framsey over on Twitch says that they always considered Forza more arcade.
That's what I thought about Horizon.
Horizon. It's like I'm with Chrono. I was like, yeah, Forza. It's like more technical and it's enjoyable. But like at the end of the day, when it shutters that aspect, it's like, was it selling? I mean, and either moving people into Game Pass or actually moving copies. And when you look at also what is not over on the PlayStation, which we've seen a big shift in Microsoft. And I say that shift started when they first announced Play Anywhere. So when the news last year broke that 4 games were going to be going over to PlayStation, I was like, that is just the logical conclusion to the last 10 years of what Microsoft's been doing. I grieved 10 years ago. I got to witness a lot of people going through that level of grief. And here we are now. You got Gears. And so to what Booms and everybody's point here, like, it's interesting because I felt really frustrated with Halo, but I didn't feel that same frustration with Gears. Gears single player and multiplayer just felt like I dreamed that the Halo Infinite multiplayer would be as cool and have as many features and options that I got out of Gears of War, but they never seemed to do that. And one of those things was like, in Gears, playing with your friends, you level up your little friendship and you get additional experience. So it was like incentive, like all these little it doesn't make or break the game, but it just adds to the overall aesthetic that I've always enjoyed and found myself always going back to the Gears of War series. So I'm thrilled that PlayStation fans get to jump in, and it does, I think, highlight one thing. I want to get Boom's take on what I'm about to say, and it could be absolutely insane. So buckle up. Is that there has always been this console war where people are like, I bought into PlayStation or I bought into Xbox. And they would, everybody would kind of throw jabs and rag on each other for whatever reason they could find. However, one of the things that people would say is that Xbox games don't appeal to me. And I always kind of found like, I was like, well, do they or do they not? And it seems to me from everything we kind of keep reading is that the Xbox games are dominating on PlayStation. Yep. And they're also new to a whole new set of players who just kind of bought into the PlayStation ecosystem and didn't necessarily feel to go try that out. So like, to me, this in and of itself, I think shows just like, yeah, Xbox can make some high quality games, but the console war ecosystems seem to be one of the kind of the barriers for some. Now, I'd venture to bet that everybody here has at least had multiple consoles of different brands in their lifetime. So I think, from a content creation perspective, I own a PlayStation. I don't hate the brand, but I do have a preference, and that preference is the Xbox control scheme. Yep. Hands down. But boom, what do you think about that? What do you think about the PlayStation, base diving into Gears of War later this year, diving into perhaps a Halo CE for the first time ever, and really kind of resetting kind of that, that hype or that brand awareness?
Well, I mean, there are a couple of ways to look at this. First of all, like you, I was really against the idea of the multi-plat ideology. It took a while for me to just, accept where they were going. Do I like it? I honestly have gotten to a point where I don't care. Mm-hmm. You're not taking games away from me. They're in my service. I still won. I was never a gatekeeper. I was always, you bought this console for these games, and I've owned pretty much every console since the early 80s to present. Like, if you name it, I probably have owned it. And I still have a lot of them. Like, for instance, I'm sure a lot of people on the chat and maybe even the panel here don't know what a Vectrex is. I still have it, and it works. And that's an old ass system that came out in '82. I talked about this, and recently it's been a bit of an epiphany for me when you talk about the console wars, because there is a stark difference specifically on PlayStation, where you have the grifters, the trolls, and these loyalists that only see the color blue.